I just took what I think is probably the worst test I've taken in nurse practitioner school. Hey, my name's Rick. I'm a registered nurse working in the emergency department, and I'm also a PMHNP student currently in close to the middle of my second semester now. So as I mentioned, I just took a test. It was a test in my advanced pharmacology class, and it was a challenging test, maybe the worst test from that standpoint that I've taken in nurse practitioner school so far. But it was challenging not because it was the hardest. It was challenging because I was unprepared. And let me tell you what I mean. Now this was a unit test. It was a test about respiratory drugs and cardiac related drugs. I was able to use my resources, my textbooks, handouts, notes, whatever it was. 60 questions, had an hour and a half to do it. So you would think, all you gotta do is just look up the answers. Well, it's not that easy at all. And normally I will study for a test like this before it happens. I'll study like it's going to be a test with no resources, like it's going to be a test that my final grade depends on or something like that. The problem with this test and why it was the worst is because I didn't study like that. I got way too distracted. I was not prepared. This week I was consciously distracted. I mean, I made a choice to be distracted. And there were a lot of things that distracted me. For one, this YouTube channel. I mean, if you've ever done this, you know it takes a lot of work to put one of these videos out. Secondly, there's a song that I'm trying to learn on my guitar that I wanted to do for a family gathering that's coming up. So I've been trying to perfect that. I'm almost embarrassed to say there's a new series on Apple TV that I started watching and got hooked on and couldn't get away from. And I also increased the number of miles that I've been running for fitness. And well, I'll do a whole nother video about how to stay healthy during NP school because it's a real conscious effort. But the bottom line was I didn't do the work. I just didn't do the work. And I've talked about that before in some of my videos about to be successful, you really have to do the work. And I didn't do it. And that's why I think it was the worst test. I knew going into it, it was going to be stressful. I knew going into it, it was going to get down to the time limit. I think I had 5 seconds left in the test by the time I was finished. In fact, I'll be surprised if I end up getting a low B on this test. Now, it wasn't like I didn't look at anything in the test. I mean, I did study before the test, but not nearly the amount I should have. And that's what I mean by putting in the work. You know, this is different than saying, hey, life is going to happen. Well, that's a true statement. You are going to be cruising along in your nurse practitioner studies and somebody's going to get sick. You're going to have a family emergency. Something's going to happen at work. Those things are going to get in the way. That's not what I'm talking about here. Life didn't just happen here. I made it happen. I made the choices. So I chose to do other things. But hey, all is not lost. I did learn something from this. So what did I learn through all of this? Well, I learned one, that I've got to do a better job prioritizing. PMHNP school has to be the number one thing on my plate. That's got to be at the top of the list. I've cut back my hours at work, so there's some financial sacrifice that my family has made. There are other things that we've done so I can get through this successfully. So that's got to be the top priority. I'm not only cheating myself by not making it the top priority, but I'm cheating the people that depend on me to get through this by not making it a top priority. So I've learned I just have to focus on that. Secondly is accountability. Frankly, I have no accountability for my studies. This is a lonely road to take if you're doing it, particularly if you're doing it in one of the proprietary schools as an online course. Outside of the Zoom calls that I have with my classes, outside of a few people I know on LinkedIn, I don't know a soul that is taking PMHNP classes. So I have really nobody to be accountable for other than myself for this. And maybe that means a study group. I've never really been fond of or been a part of study groups, but maybe that's what it means. And the third thing I've learned is self-discipline. Now, I like to pride myself as someone that has a lot of self-discipline, but I certainly didn't exhibit it this week, and I've got to do a better job of that as well. When you're going through PMHNP school, you can always have something else to do. And that's probably true for any nurse practitioner school. I know that, and I did it anyway. So that's on me. That's a choice I made. Teacher didn't make this too hard. I made it too hard. So the big thing here that I want you to get out of this is you got to keep the big picture in mind. I lost track of that this week. I lost track of that and got caught up in things that were fun things to do. Some of them were important things to do, but they weren't the most important thing to do. They didn't really impact my big picture of why I'm going through this. That's got to be the priority. So just do what you know you have to do. If you keep doing that and you stay focused on that, you're going to do well in your nurse practitioner program. You're going to do well in your PMHNP program. Keep focused, do what you got to do. So hey, if you like this video, if you like some of the things I'm talking about, please consider subscribing. Also, hit that like button down there. That helps out a lot. It gets these videos out on YouTube for other people to see. You've got a question about anything I'm talking about here, you got a comment, I'd love to hear about it. Please go ahead and put it in the comments below. I read every one of them and I will respond to them. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps you get through your program as well.